Ladies and gentlemen, my famous line, another Tuesday, another pod. We are back. Hopefully the mic's working. We got Jack and Alec on the call today with me virtually as we break down the Preds versus Wildcats series thriller. It was a thriller, am I wrong?
Oh, it was a great series.
That's a good word for it, I think.
Definitely was a banger.
Definitely a thriller. Definitely a banger, from the defensive plays to the pitching performances to the nukes to the late game drama. It had it all. It truly did. And of course it was raining, so good one to talk about, break it down. We got into some other stuff too. What did we get to talk about? Vermont, merch, bumper stickers. I don't know. We covered it all. Good episode today, and I hope you all enjoy it. So this is the Pipe It Up podcast. Cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you can hear me through this microphone this week. Fingers crossed. And yeah, it's been a fun week trying to figure that out, but haven't even figured it all the way out yet. Not that you guys care or anything, but I found a workaround, I think. So, without further ado, let's get into the pod. We got Jack Agner joining us virtually, of course, as always. Give the salute to the people, Jack. Howdy. How you doing?
Doing great, Tom. Doing great.
Good. I miss you this weekend, man. Would have been nice to have you out there in Vermont with me.
Yeah, it looked like a great time. Looks like we battled some weather, which is pretty standard for an MLW event.
It's this dude. Last year we didn't battle any weather. This year has been nothing but weather problems. I guess it's the highs and lows of the MLW seasons and whatnot. But yeah, it's been a wet year. But once again, we got it all in, thankfully. So no cancellations or anything like that. But Warda's no stranger to the rain.
No, I thrive in the rain, baby. That's my environment.
Gives him a little extra like gel for his hair.
Yeah, it's just consistent gel replenish.
Keeps that hair hydrated.
Yep. Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I swear the Preds are cursed. First of all, Warda, thanks for joining us. But yeah, you guys saw again the Preds get rained down against the Cats. Some heavy rain at times. Like, it was loud. You could hear it hitting my umbrella on top of the camera, and it was loud at times. In particular, I remember, I think it was game 2, and Sailor came in for Pearson. It just started to pour on the poor kid after he warmed up. It was bad.
I feel like the Preds have they just have a knack for the rain for some reason. It might just be because everybody thinks of the clip of Brennan Russell just chucking the bat. He's done it multiple times where he just chucks the bat in the rain through his swing. Maybe that's just what's stuck in my mind, but I know our series this year when we played you guys, it was rainy. And then I turned this video on and I'm like, man, they're just battling this year. They're getting they're thriving in the muck. You got to thrive in the muck.
Yeah, well, the thing is, back then we didn't have VOOC grips, so now we got VOOC grips, and there's no more sliding when we're playing in the rain.
Good plug. That's A1.
Got a plug.
Excellent plug. I actually just got a text from RJ Vukovic himself talking about ordering more grips. So we're gonna have more team grips available on the MLW merch site very soon. A couple of weeks, he said, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, VOOC grips saved us once again on the rainy day. We talked about thriving in the rain, Alec, but before you guys were thriving in the rain, I wanted to rewind a little bit to after the Philly series, before this series, and just talk about sort of the negative energy that was going on within the Preds clubhouse internally, because I kind of alluded to that in the pregame interview with Ryan. He's like, oh, it's just grown men who want to win, which is totally true. I liked how he worded that. But what was really going down? What was the communication like after the Philly series and before this one?
Great question. So we're all pretty mature. The Preds have a pretty old squad, so we're all pretty mature. We've been in the game for a while, and being negative really doesn't do anything. We recognize the position we were in, though, so that was the biggest thing. We recognize the position we're in. Okay, we have to win now. We got to do everything we can to warrant that, whether it's just, I don't know, getting out there to practice a little bit. But I think the biggest thing for us was being in the right mind space, I guess, after the Philly series. So it was negative, because we're in a tough position. So, but it wasn't, there was never a moment where we were like, it's done now, or, like scrap the season or something like that. There was never a moment where it was, although it did feel like that, we knew that, you gotta move forward and keep the head up and keep looking at the light. So that was really what we were doing.
Yeah, it seems like you were able to definitely shift your mindset going into this series. How did you, well, first of all, I guess, was there anything you kind of said to your team before that series?
Just energy, boys. We need and I was like, I'll supply the energy. Russell, you can help me. Russell always does a good job supplying energy, but we just needed to have the energy up, have fun, joke around a little bit back there. That was basically just the common stuff. Try to keep it light. Let's just try to have fun out there. You always play best when you have fun. It's difficult to balance the having fun aspect with some of the pressure that you can feel sometimes. And that's a kind of new. I've never felt pressure playing wiffle ball. This year, a little bit of pressure. So that was a sort of a new thing to deal with, just because, I don't know, the league's getting bigger, and on the off season, we had the Rover video, a bunch of stuff going on that really felt like it put more pressure on the team. But yeah, just stay loose, have fun. Let's just play wiffle ball. Don't think too much about it.
You kind of mentioned having that pressure, or feeling that pressure this year. How did you feel as a player and as a manager going into this series, kind of knowing the situation, knowing your backs are against the wall against a really, veteran Wildcats team? How did you feel?
I felt good. Just kind of trying to put on the confidence was the biggest thing. Like at that point, there really wasn't much confidence left. So we're just trying.
Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it.
Right. You got to derive it from somewhere. So just saying, I remember Kracht being like, I want Warda to get some warm-ups. And I was like, I'm going to crush it regardless. So I don't even need the warm-up. Like that's the over-exaggeration that I was doing to give myself confidence. Although I didn't play particularly that well, that still bleeds into my boys that are playing with me. That bleeds in with Kracht, that bleeds into Russell. Rudy had a great series that bled into him. I was really focusing on Rudy a lot to get him confident and trying to believe in him a lot. So, it was definitely a high pressure situation, but I was diffusing it in my mind. I was diffusing it, just trying to give us confidence from somewhere. Yeah, fake it. Even though we didn't really have anywhere to be confident, or there was nothing to back us up for this season to give us confidence. Is just like, we know what we're capable of. It's not physically impossible for us to be good. Obviously, we could be the best team out there. It's just a matter of how our minds are and how we're feeling. So if we're feeling good, we'll play good. So we got to make ourselves feel good. Even if we're not particularly that day, we got to make ourselves feel good. So that's what we were doing.
It's the mental part of the game, I suppose.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, it's good to hear that, and I guess it makes sense now in hindsight. But I'll be honest, Alec, I didn't really have too high of hopes for the Predators at the Meadows that particular day, just because, like I said, I heard some rumors about the inner turmoil, about everybody being upset about the way the Philadelphia thing went, and just being 2-7. I've been there; it's not fun. It's never where you want to be, and it's easy to let the spirits get low. As well as with the forecast, I think I'll call out Russell in particular. I think he was just so over playing in the rain that when he saw the forecast like 2 or 3 days prior to guys' series, he's like, dude, we're not doing this again. I'm like, bro, come on, Russell. Like,
we have to. We have to.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I don't have it. Like, I even looked around a little bit at like indoor spaces and whatnot, just to entertain it for Russell's sanity, I guess. But yeah, there's nothing that was going to run us sub $1,000 probably for the evening. So anyways.
No shot. He
goes out there and he plays, you guys win, and afterwards he's like leaving and saying goodbye, and I'm like, Russell, you had fun tonight. I know you did. And he's like, you know what? You're right. I had a good time there. I'm like, yeah, it's fun when you win, isn't it? It's just, I think he was just associating the rain and the bad season kind of all morphing into one. So he's like, I'm done with this, man. I'm not playing in the rain. Yeah. Like, yes, you are, buddy. Come on, you can do this. I had to talk him off the ledge a little bit.
Yeah. But in terms of you mentioned the inner turmoil. Yeah. I did get angry with them a little bit. I overreacted, I think. but I got angry with the behavior that I got angry at Russell that he walked off. He hit the ball and walked and then got robbed and he just looked like a chump. So I got angry at him. Not like a chump, but I did not like to see that. Ideally I would like just to see everyone hustle to first, regardless.
Yeah,
like, okay,
Russell's got to hustle.
Russell's got to hustle.
Russell's got to hustle.
So I got angry with him at that and pretty much everyone. I felt that and maybe this was just me. I felt like, maybe we felt that we deserved something, or maybe there was a sense of entitlement that was going around that I did not like. And again, that might not have been going around that might have just been a me problem, thinking that there was an issue going on when there wasn't. But I got angry about that. But of course, you have a 5-minute discussion with the boys, and then it all goes away. So
if you don't mind me asking, what was the response from Brennan when you told him not to pimp his home runs?
Grab your popcorn, boys. It's sure to be good.
He said he was like, it wouldn't have made a difference, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I get that, but it's just the idea of thinking that it's, I don't know. I don't know. That was sort of where I was like, yeah, I guess maybe I'm just freaking out because I'm upset that we're 2-7 now. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to find a spot. I was trying to look for where's this coming from? Where's this performance coming from? Why are we playing so bad? And if it's we're all athletic dudes, so we should be able to be good. On paper, we should be able to be good. So there must be something, either an attitude or something going on in the mental state of that's what's wrong. So I was trying to find if there was an issue, and I guess I saw that, and maybe I was just angry because of the situation we were in, and I was like, "Come on, boys, we gotta get better." But yeah, he was like, "Dude, you're freaking out a little bit." I think.
Yeah, sorry. I think
you're good.
I think the response that I heard through the grapevine was, if I think it's gone, I'm gonna pimp it, which I thought was hilarious.
That is what he said. That is what he said.
Hey, yeah, I thought that was like, so funny.
Okay, but it's just if it's not gone, then you just look like a
then
fool.
You just pimped it, and it's not.
Yeah, so it's like, and I don't know. I don't want to look like that. So it's, if you don't mind, then I guess that's fine. But I just want us hustling, I guess, is the only thing. I want us hustling. So.
Hey, I'm just doing my job here on this microphone, and I gotta say, if you're playing on a 65-foot fence and you're going to pimp a ball that doesn't go over, that's a little bit embarrassing. I just got to call it out, man. That was a small field. For you to be pimping a ball that was hit with a routine fly out at the Meadows, it's a little bit bold. Just had to say that.
I actually feel like a lot of the clips back in the day, because I haven't had any this year, but back in the day, when I was hitting home runs, I would almost take off way quicker than I needed to. You know what I mean? Like the opposite. Like I was just ready to go. Almost to the point where you've seen it this year where I get a hit and then I miss first base because I'm just so excited to be running around.
Missing bases is classic. I feel like it's very common, which I don't know. It's very common amongst the non-baseball players. I feel like the athletes that are just used to running around the field. We were in Vermont this weekend playing in the Vermont Summer Classic alongside our series, and I think Brendan Schultz was on second. Yeah, he scored from second base all the way home. And the guy just totally whiffed third. And so he sits down next to me, and I'm like, dude, you definitely didn't touch third. He goes, yep, I know. Don't say anything. No one noticed. Nobody noticed, and the run counted, but I just found it funny. But that's a classic Agner move.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it is about that. It might be like your depth perception to how close the bases are, but I think it's maybe just forgetting that you got to touch bases. Yeah, because the people that don't play baseball, they don't have that peace of mind. Maybe, although I've been playing wiffle ball for I don't know 12 years now.
It's not that. I think it's not. It's not that I don't know I have to touch the base. It's that I'm looking up.
Yes.
And anticipating already going to the next. It's like in football, it's you got to catch it before you run. You know what I mean? It's the same idea where I'm already looking at second base and I'm not even really paying attention to where my feet are at to touch first base, and then you miss it. That's what happens.
Yeah, and I made a pretty bad base running blunder. And
you guys had a couple of them, Kracht as well.
It was because we just haven't really been on base that much, in terms of hitting. Like, I haven't hit and gotten the chance to round, or I haven't like gotten a single and made it and maybe was looking not that many times this year. So I just got a little antsy there. So, and I think we all sort of got antsy just because.
I think I heard you say like, boys, I thought we were going. Like you thought we were just doing the carousel.
I thought we were going
Predator craziness.
Rudy stayed because he's just got discipline and he knows what's going on.
He's a baseball player. He knows it would have been ridiculous to run.
Yeah, yes. I don't know if he could have made it. I thought maybe I was like, oh, he can make that or something. I don't know, but it was just not much thought.
Didn't end up costing you, thankfully. Speaking of Rudy, I wanted to ask you too just how great it was to witness Rudy with a highly productive day, put a lot of balls in play, had a clutch hit there in game 2 to tie it with 2 outs, almost had his first career home run. How great was that as a manager?
It was awesome just because I feel like I've been texting him on the side a lot over the past few years saying like, I still think you're going to be good. I still think you have it. I still think you have it. Like, don't get discouraged. You just need to see pitches. You know, the fans are eating him alive. Which they eat everyone alive, so it's whatever. They're knee jerkers, but
they're ruthless.
They knee jerk. But yeah, so I was just believing in him and giving him, trying to give him confidence and trying to say, dude, you're gonna get it. You're like the most athletic dude out here. You're gonna get it. You just have to see some more pitches. You just have to see some stuff. And he's taking it more seriously now. Now he does a lot of. He's thinking, he's like, what if this situation happens? Or if this happens, do you want me to do this or that? And it's like, good question. Like, this is usually the best thing to do or something.
Good question. Talk to my co-manager.
Yeah, talk to my co-manager. That's
a day-to-day issue, not a big picture issue.
Yeah, that's the day-to-day. Yeah. But yeah, it was good just to see that belief because I believed in him. I really felt like he could turn out to be really good. So it was nice to see that perseverance in believing in him start. At least, he played well. So it was like, okay, so it's he's coming around a little bit. So it was nice.
Yeah. It's hard to say like he's for sure turned a corner or whatever after just one good series. But I think, like you said, the taking it serious thing or just having more quality at bats, I think can go a long way for him because he wasn't really a regular in the lineup in previous years. He's always been a busy guy playing Division I baseball and working. Now he's playing pro baseball, so it's still kind of to be determined like how many series he can make moving forward. I know it's tricky, and I know you guys would love to have him after that performance, but just sort of reality.
Definitely.
But I think, like you said, having him being there for multiple series in a row and with him being in the lineup for all 3 games and him actually like having an approach at the plate somewhat without just like going out there and just like doing what he can, actually like really taking each pitch seriously, I think contributes a lot. And he's such a good athlete that it really did seem like a matter of time before he had a day like he did,
No, I totally agree. Like his athleticism and just obviously his baseball skill, like the kid has hand-eye coordination. You know what I mean? It's like any sport, like he could probably pick up and put enough time into it and be pretty good at it. And it's just a rep game. You know what I mean? You just got to get those reps. So I agree with what you said there, Tom. It seemed like it was only a matter of time. Kudos to you, Alec, for, always like continue to encourage him and not give up on him. And when the fans are ruthlessly slaughtering him in the comments, you were still in his corner. So that's always manager to manager. That's good to see.
Thank you.
Because what are Rudy's, for the fans that don't know, what are Rudy's accolades at the surface, at least as an athlete? So in high school, in baseball, I can speak on, he made varsity as a sophomore at Brighton, which is kind of a big deal. And he was a starter, played right field for us for 3 years. And he also pitched in high school. It was our number 2 arm behind a Division I arm that pitched in the SEC. But Rudy was still throwing mid to high 80s, movement, control, all that kind of stuff. So that was his baseball side of things. And then what was he doing on the football field?
He was crushing it. He was like, I think we played with him for only 1 year, maybe, Alec.
Yeah.
He was a running back for us, like freak athlete.
Plus he kicked too, right?
He kicked.
He kicked. Yeah.
Was like a slot and then a wide out, and he was all state, and he was a kick returner. So he just did everything. He just did everything. Yeah. He was just good at everything. Oh, and he was a safety.
Yeah.
So it was just like you can have him out there for anything. He's kicking the ball, he's returning the ball, he's
defending. I think he punted too.
Yeah, and he did everything. So he's just that kind of kid where he's just like, natural athlete.
Yeah, tremendous athlete. He's arguably the most athletic player in MLW. Once again, he is a professional athlete technically. He's playing in an independent pro ball baseball league. It's called the USPBL. You guys can Google that. I think the team he's on is called the Beavers. So shout out to the Beavers.
Nice.
Good luck to those guys.
We'll have to do a partnership game with them sometime.
I know.
Where are they? Where are the Beavers out of?
So this league I think has 4 or 5 teams, and they're all the teams very much like MLW. Jack, they all play at the same home field. They share one stadium. It's pretty funny actually how similar the two things are.
That is cool.
So
that's pretty cool.
It's in it's kind of in Metro Detroit. I think it's in Utica, Michigan. I want to say
Utica.
Right on.
I have not caught a game yet. I'd love to come see Rudy play at some point, but we've been pretty busy, as you guys know, on the road a lot. So good luck to him the rest of his baseball season, and hopefully wiffle ball, he's out there and helping the Preds make the postseason.
He was a bright spot for you guys, as well as obviously Ryan Kracht once again being a bright spot for you guys. We'll get to his home run later, but I just wanted to, ask about his pitching. Like, again, we've talked about the Wildcats and just how hard of a lineup it is to get through. And just all day, it seemed like he was having his way with them, other than maybe one inning in the second game. With you being like, actually in his corner, like a teammate of his, what do you think makes him so difficult to get around to and to hit?
He has like 3 different arsenals, 2 different arsenals that he can pull out. If he's on, he can, and Nick Saylor mentioned this last year when we played them. He will pitch game 1 and he'll maybe be maining like an overhand slider, an overhand screw drop or something, maybe a riser, a knuckleball. And then the next game, he'll throw like an underhand screwball, an underhand slurve, an underhand slider. So he has like 2 different arsenals that he has the capability of pulling out. So can give you the illusion that you're facing 2 separate pitchers in one guy. So he has so many different pitches and he can still mix them up, but he'll come at you with multiple different pitching styles. And then they'll start to hit him like game 1, and then he'll just completely change everything. And now he's maining everything from, a lower release point. So that's really what he's good at. But for the most part, in terms of pitching, I really just stay away. I don't tell him how to do anything. And when it comes to pitching, he's miles ahead of me with that. So I don't even tell him really anything with pitching.
Was it your plan coming into the series to throw him the first 2 games, or was that a decision that was made based on, the outcome of game 1, or just like how the series was going?
Based on the outcome of game 1, we needed 2 games. So game 1 wasn't pretty smooth, but he felt good after game 1. In terms of pitching, he felt good after game 1. And I was like, I want you to go again. And he's like, yes. Yeah, I'm going. And I was like, okay, cool. Perfect. So yeah, sort of depending on how it went. And I mean, Steve even pitched pretty good. He got into a jam at the end, but I thought he was pitching better. It was the best game he's had all year.
Yeah, he was doing well through the first 2 innings. Got a little squirrely there at the end.
It did.
Literally, he just needed one more out.
Yeah.
He was one out short, and all of a sudden lost it. I was like, oh boy.
Was that a product, you think, of just like the conditions and like the ball? Because we also saw Pearson in was that game 2 where he also he just started like spiking balls. Like it was like he couldn't find the zone.
It could have had a factor, but I really think it's mostly mental. And
Really?
You're in that and you're like, oh my God, now the bases are loaded. Oh my God, I walked in a run. Oh gosh. And then with Pearson, we were actively trying to make it harder for him. So there's a few times where I was lining up at the top of the box, and then he winds up.
I saw you do
shift
that
back.
once.
So because he was starting to lose it a little bit. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make it harder for him, and I'm going to move around a ton, and then see if that makes it even harder for him. So I was like starting up and then starting back just to play the mental game on him. I think it's mostly mental.
Yeah, Jack, are you familiar with the term the yips?
I am.
I don't know if that's a lacrosse thing too, but definitely used in baseball a lot. Just like a mental block where all of a sudden it's like you can't throw the ball.
Yeah.
Like I would say maybe that happened to me when I started to stop pitching. I think, it's a case where like you walk one or two guys and all of a sudden you're so in your head like, okay, I got to throw a strike, that all of a sudden now like you start thinking about your mechanics, you're thinking about your aim in the ball instead of just throwing it and trusting your body and your muscle memory. I think honestly, like Alex said, the conditions were not ideal either, and I'm sure it didn't help them try to find the zone before they got to the mental side of things. That may have led to the initial unravel, but then as the inning continues and more batters are walked, I think a lot of it is mental for sure.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Makes sense.
To comment on Kracht, I was back there behind the camera, of course, and humbly speaking, I wasn't that. It's easy to say because I played well, but in Philly, I hadn't hit off Ryan in 2 years, right? I hadn't played against him since 2021 up until this season. And in Philly, when I saw the ball really well and hit really well, I was like, man, I was just, I guess you could even say I was like disappointed that he didn't throw better just for his own sake. You know what I mean? I was like, I feel like his stuff just wasn't moving that much. He was kind of putting it on a platter for me. Like he gave me very favorable pitches to hit. Like a slider just didn't move that much that I hammered over the scoreboard, and his two-seamer wasn't tailing in all that much. But when I was back there watching him pitch against the Cats, man, it was nasty. And I can see why he won the MVP and why he's in the Cy Young conversation last year and again this year. Just it was disgusting. So I think Philly may have just been an off day for him, whether it was because of the ball or the nerves or something, mechanics. It just didn't seem like he was totally himself compared to the picture that I saw out there from behind the camera. Now, maybe it also just looks nastier from where I was standing versus in the batter's box, but I wasn't blaming the Wildcats for striking out as much as they did because Ryan's stuff was crazy. He was changing arm slots and deliveries. We saw a no-look strikeout that I haven't seen that in 7 years in this league. Like back when the Seahawks were in the league and people were doing that to them. So he was just on another level out there, and he hit super good too. I mean, he's put himself right back in that like MVP caliber type numbers again, in my opinion. His average is insane. His power numbers are great. He's throwing well. It's just, he's a good whiffler, man. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, that home run had to be the farthest hit ball at the Meadows ever.
I was watching it back. Of course, I said that, and everyone was excited to see the footage. And like after it had happened, because I was telling people like, yo, you guys thought Dallas's was far a couple weeks ago, or you thought mine was far in Philly. Wait till you see Ryan's, because Ryan's, I swear, just like left the bat and never like, it looked like it was anti-gravity. It just kept going until it hit the trees. Part of the reason I think it looked, not discrediting him at all, but part of the reason I think it looked like it was so far is because we don't have many lefties in this league. I think actively we have Warda, Flynn, Reese Harris, and Zerlag. That might be it.
Me in the Derby.
Yeah.
Jack in the Derby. No, there's one more, though. I'm forgetting who, though. I just had it.
Zach Whalen. I don't know if you said
Whalen. There's one more I thought, too, though. Whatever. There's not many lefties. So most home runs we see.
Austin Ford we saw in this series.
Ford. Okay, there's a few. Whatever. There's more righties than lefties is my point.
Definitely.
And most home runs that we see hit a long ways are righties pulling the ball or lefties pulling the ball. But like none of the lefties that I just named, in my opinion, no offense, Alec, are like hitting balls deep consistently. You know what I mean?
Not crushing it like that. No.
Chadwick's another one. That was what I was trying to think of.
Chadwick, yeah.
But so anyways, we've seen balls get into that tree line on the left side of things. Grant was flirting with that this year. Dallas put one into the trees over there. We see it in the Derby all the time. But never in my memory in a home run derby or in a game have I seen a ball hit those trees in right field. Never. We've been there since 2018, and I don't think I've ever seen that. So that's why I was just like in shock behind the camera, because I saw it leave the bat and I was like, oh, that's a bomb. And then I'm watching the ball go and I see where it hits the trees. I'm like, did that just happen? Like that ball was launched. It was unbelievable. And it didn't, from my perspective, it didn't look like it was hit that hard, to be honest, but watching it back, the ball was smoked. Like it got over that GoPro in right field from that GoPro angle. It was over that in an instant. But yeah, it was, in in my opinion, undoubtedly the farthest hit ball to right field. I don't know about farthest ball ever. It's for sure in the conversation, but he just smoked it. And it was funny, and I didn't realize this in the moment, of course, because I didn't hear him on the mic'd up, but how he was like, the Preds are back, and then his next at bat,
he smokes it.
hits a ball to the next county over. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
that was awesome. I mean, the Cats had a top 10 play of their own too, with Kyle robbing Rudy.
Yeah, it was a crazy series. I was upset. You can see me in the video. I was sad that Rudy couldn't get his home run because
that would have been his first career.
That would have lit us up. Oh my! We were already lit up because we were just trying to be really, really catalytic with the energy. If Rudy would have hit a home run, that would have lit us up to a whole nother degree. We would have been freaking out. But there's those plays, like I was clapping on. You can see me in the video, like after he makes the catch, I was like, okay, like that's good stuff. That's really good stuff for the video, and it's just awesome to see things like that happen. Like regardless if it's against you, it's just it's cool. It's always fun to see things like that, especially how it was. He fell over the fence and right in front of that fan, so it was cool.
Yeah, definitely a candidate for play of the year. I was trying to think back. I mean, that one's up there. That could be number one. I mean, Kyle already had a diving catch against the Magic. I was trying to think of other plays that have been made that were phenomenal, but that one's got to be up there for number one. I think that was Preston's was good, but Preston was also like camped and then timed that jump to like rob the home run. Whereas Schultz kind of went like, that's a sketchy play. He kind of went full speed at the wall and then made the catch as he was on the move still. That was a tricky play.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Very impressive to say the least.
I wanted to ask you, Alec, too. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but I have a lot of questions I wanted to get through in today's interview. Talked about McGlade and the mental aspect of not being able to find the strike zone. Same with Pearson. But because the Preds don't have that deep of a pitching staff, it's Crash and McGlade, and that's pretty much the essence of it. When you're out there and Russell's out there in the field and he can't find the zone and it's quiet and you guys just need one more out, is there any should one of us two go in? Because Ryan's innings were exhausted at that point. He didn't have any eligibility left. Or were you guys just praying that McGlade could find it?
I'm praying that he could find it. I mean, maybe thinking about that a little bit. Like, I think maybe I could get through. Like, I'm probably capable of getting through a game. Like, I'm physically capable. That's what I always say. I'm always like, I'm physically capable of it. So why wouldn't I practice to get there consistently? So we were thinking that, but no, it's again, the belief. I'm like, no, I believe he can do it. Like I believe he can do it. So, and I'm, I guess, like hoping that there's something that can translate my belief into like performance or something. Like, I don't know, a little superstitious like that. It's like, I really believe. So come on, Steve, let's get a strikeout here or pop up or something. Get it to me. I'll try to make the play, even though I had a few blunders out there too, dropping balls. But yeah, again, or at least just get it in play or something so we can try to make a defensive play. And that's what I was telling him. I was just like, if it goes in play, we got your back. We got your back here. We got your back. Don't be scared if it goes in play. We'll make the play. Don't worry. Telling him it's his game. It's your game. This is yours. Take it. This is your game. Take it. Things like that. That's what I was saying. I was like,
you're the man. You're the man.
Come on, Two. Take it. This one's yours. Take it. So
bop it. Twist it.
But also just trying to give him some safety that it's like, if it goes in play, we got your back. So don't worry. If you just get it on the zone.
That last play was a little dicey. It was a ground ball to McGlade, I think, and you were covering first. The throw was sort of up the line a little bit. So Saylor, I was watching it back. I played it a couple times and was thinking, I guess that would have been a review nightmare amongst me and probably Mr. Schultz trying to talk it over and see what happened if he did go full speed at you. I'm not sure he would have beat the throw regardless if the throw wasn't up the line, but he did slow himself down in that final step to try to avoid contact And so
So
kind
what
of a,
would be
a
the
dicey
ruling
ending.
there?
That's what I was just trying to think over. I don't really know.
Like if Alec catches that ball, but then Sailor like lays him out, but like doesn't get hit by the ball, and Alec's off the bag, is he safe?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's a
Unless
very
I touch him with
it's
it.
a very uncommon play.
Yeah, obviously.
So I'd really have to look at the ML. What we probably would have done was looked at the MLB ruling on that and then translated that over to us. But yeah, throws up the line like that. I know if they hit the runner going to first, and like he's given the base, he's not out because of a peg in baseball. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we didn't have that situation here. So I don't know. I would like to think that the runner would be given the bag. You know,
that's what I figured would have happened. He would have been given the bag, unless I tagged him.
Just know if we ever see each other again, honestly, this season or in future seasons, and that situation ever arises, I'm gonna take every opportunity to try to level you.
just like senior year, huh?
You got to think back too, because the rules have also changed. Because back in the glory days, man, of my childhood years, thinking 2003 to 2010, which is like the peak of my baseball fandom, you'd have catchers just getting plowed at home plate. Like it was a thing where a catcher could stand in front of the plate and then catch it right there. Whereas now there's some sort of rule in place to where you can't move over to block the plate until you have possession of the ball. If that makes sense. So I don't know how the MLB.
But you also
works.
can't like truck the catcher as a runner, I think, right?
So yeah, you can't intentionally. I don't think you can't intentionally try to make contact to jar the ball loose. Essentially. I don't know exactly what the rules. I should, and I definitely did when the rule changed 10 years ago. But yeah, there's a rule in place now where the catcher can't just like be blocking the plate and waiting for the ball. Now you see all catchers positioned in front of home plate, and then they drop down with the tag once they have the ball in their hands. So it was a player safety thing.
Did you see that clip of that? I think it was a Yankees player that was straight up like jogging into home and got tagged out. Like just like no effort whatsoever.
I think it was John.
Do you know what I'm
Stanton.
talking about?
I think I did see that, yes.
What was that? What was he doing?
I saw both sides of it. You see that a lot in baseball, Jack, to be honest. I mean, these guys are a little bit older, I guess, but you'd never see that in football, and players are old there too sometimes. But people were bashing him, saying it's pathetic the amount of effort people put in and whatever. And then he also had people supporting him saying, well, if he went full speed, he'd be back on the IL again. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
like I said, that's pretty common
like
in baseball. I feel like I see that a lot of guys just not going as fast as they could.
I don't know. Maybe it was it looked worse than it was.
No, it looked bad. I saw it
in real time, but I feel like that's one where it's like he was going so slow, he almost could have just went back to third. Like that's how he was going. If he made up his mind, like I'm not going full speed into here, and he saw the guy throw it, like I don't know, it just looked bad.
People were also calling for the third base coach. Like, why was he sent if he can't run 100%? You know what I mean?
True.
So I saw three types of comments: support for Stanton. I saw people bashing Stanton for it, and I saw people bashing the third base coach for it. So I saw a variety of different things.
Can't please anyone in this one.
Once again, I'm glad it didn't. I'm glad back to the MLW side of things. I'm glad we didn't have more controversy there. But something that maybe Kyle and I should take a look at and discuss prior to the postseason beginning, because there's things like that. It's just like your worst case scenario for a game to like a really, really important game to end in a way where there was some controversy involved. It's totally part of sports. You see it every year in big games in the NFL, the MLB, whatever it may be. But it's always nice to avoid those types of things and have a clear winner decided fair and square rather than controversy on one end or the other.
Definitely check it before Preds Magic if there's another one in 2023 or obviously in 2024, because that'll come into play. But Alec, obviously with the sweep here, you guys dug yourself somewhat out of the hole that you had dug. But how have your guys, as the Preds, how have your guys' goals changed after this series moving forward?
They really haven't. The goal is always to win, That's always the goal. So that got short-sighted a little bit after the Philly series, because we were like, okay, next series we need. I think it was.
I just thought something hilarious. Sorry, go ahead, finish.
No, you're good. I thought that we only needed one game to win against the Cats, and then we needed to beat the Cobras. Am I wrong?
I think you needed. So you needed
two, I think.
Well, so I think what the situation was, there was never a scenario where you could be eliminated in that series. There was always a chance based on your final series against the Cobras. However, you would have, if you hadn't have won a game, I think it was just one, but if you hadn't have won 1 or 2 games in this series, you would have needed outside help. You would have been out of control of your own destiny, if that makes sense. You would have needed the Magic to beat the Cobras a couple times in St. Louis for you to have a shot. So with these wins, you're now in control of your own destiny no matter what. And based on the results of this Magic and Cobras series, that'll determine how many wins you guys will need against the Cobras to clinch yourselves a spot in the playoffs. So you're alive and well. You control your own destiny. The reason I started laughing a moment ago, Alec, is because, on the way home from Philly, I don't know if I ever talked about this, but once again, Russell kind of being a negative Nancy. He was going through it, and he was like,
"Oh my god!"
He's like, so what happens now if the Wildcats sweep us? He's like, do we still have a chance? And I was like I was trying to do the math, and I'm thinking through it, and he's asking me more questions, and I'm like, Russell, eventually you got to win to make the playoffs. Like, I don't know why you're having me do these scenarios of like, if you guys lose every game, how do you make the postseason? I'm like, you're not going to make the postseason if you just get swept in every series. So how about instead of asking that question, go out and win some games and then figure out your scenarios. It was just funny the way he's like, well, what if the Wildcats sweep us? Then we have a shot? And I'm like, and he's like, if they do sweep us, like how many wins do we need against the Cobras? And I'm like, let's just win the games. How about that? You need to win to make the playoffs. You can't just lose your way to a World Series ring here, buddy.
If we get swept, but we buy you Chili's after, does that impact our standings?
No, that is Russell. It is so bumpy. Okay, it was a bumpy ride, but that was really good.
The van.
It was a bumpy ride, but I mean, we were all.
You guys were in the back.
We were all hanging out though, and Russell's just like, "Oh, it's so bumpy."
Yeah, when we stopped at the Rocky Steps, the Rocky Memorial in Philly.
Oh yeah,
it was like a 5-minute stop, and Russell's like, "God, I gotta get home." And I'm like, "Dude, we got this. We'll be in and out in 5 minutes."
So many stairs.
I think he stayed in the car. He didn't come out and enjoy the moment with me and Warda.
He was like, "I'll hold down the fort."
We were playing the Rocky music. We ran up the stairs. We did it. If you're there, you might as well do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, you might as well.
You're right there. You're not going to go out and run those steps.
I don't know if I'll ever go to Philly again, especially I was like, oh yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be here again, realistically. So might as well do it,
Might as well do it. Might as well run up the steps and play the Rocky music and give a nice.
Eat the cheesesteak. Eat the cheesesteak.
Yeah,
play the music. Run the steps. Do the pose, and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
We travel a little bit, not a ton, but like you said, you never know. So we always try to hit the touristy things while we're there. Might as well.
Yeah.
But good series for you guys. It was shocking. I was surprised. I didn't see it coming based on the texts I was seeing from Russell and what I was hearing and just the way you guys have been playing and what I saw in Philly. But you surprised me. You beat the Cats. What is it about the Wildcats? Why do you guys have their number?
I don't know, man. They're such a good team to have a number for. That's the thing. I don't know. And it's not like they even played bad. It's just, I don't know.
How is it that we swept, or how is it that we beat you guys 2 out of 3 pretty handedly, and then the Cats sweep us bad, and then you guys go out and sweep the Cats? This is a weird league.
I'm telling you, it's no prediction or no plausible trend is ever true. Like if something makes sense, it's not going to happen. Like that's always what happens. It's
the transitive property in sports does not apply.
It doesn't.
You're always getting yourself in trouble when you try to use that theorem. It doesn't work.
Transitive property. That's what I was looking for.
Doesn't work.
Geometry, Warda. Geometry.
I know, man.
It's been a long time, but let's get into this week's comment of the week. This one's a funny one, a unique one. It comes from, I'll give a shout out to the name this time. It's Paul Rubino, and he says, having a top 10 play happen mere inches from you in person is the most surreal thing ever. And that's right. It was Paul Rubino out there. I'll pop up the picture right now. That was standing there inches away from Kyle when Kyle made that catch, who happened to be at the series. Yeah, he put his hands up.
He puts his ones up. He goes, yeah, oh my gosh.
I wanted to give him a shout out here too, because he's been a big fan for a while. I'd never met him. It was one of those moments, Warda, maybe you can relate to this from tournaments and stuff like that, but like I see a fan at the Meadows and I walk up to him and I'm like, hey, thanks for coming so much. Like really appreciate it. Enjoy the series. Don't be shy. Like ask for pictures, autographs, whatever. And so I'm like signing his wiffle ball or bat, whatever he had. And I was like, what's your name? And he's like, oh, I'm Paul. I was like, oh, nice to meet you. And he's like, yeah, I DM you all the time. And I was like, oh, what's your last name? And he's like, Rubino. I was like, Paul Rubino? And I was like, and I dapped him up. I was like, what's up? Because like I do recognize the name from the messages. I just never put the name to the face, if that makes sense. So it was cool to have him there to see that. And he was at the MLW All-Star Day, I think, as well, because these were the All-Star Day, which was the home run derby and the All-Star game. And then this series were played, I think, only 2 days apart or so, right? 2 or 3 days apart. So yeah, he got to experience all that, and it was cool. And I was looking for a comment of the week, and I saw that message, and I was like, oh, it's Paul. And I decided to pull that one. So it's cool.
Got to give Paul some cred.
Got to give Paul some credit. It'd be interesting, Jack, off-season interview maybe, get Paul on or somebody who's been at the Meadows for a series to talk about like what it's like to watch a series start to finish at the Meadows.
I'd love to have a fan
That
on
would
the
be
pod.
cool. That'd be cool.
You could also ask someone who's
That'd
been
be
to a like out-of-state series with a lot of fans, but that's a little bit different, I feel like, than just seeing us at the Meadows in our element where it's really just us, like pretty candid, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really, really exciting episode.
I think so too. So much freedom in the off-season, so much room for activities, you know what I mean?
So much room for activities.
How you hanging in there, Warda? I see you got your collared shirt on. You fresh off of work today?
Yeah, fresh out of work. Every Monday we have a fancy, or not fancy shirt, but a fun shirt day. I don't have many super fun shirts, but this is a cactus shirt. It's got cacti all over them. So usually I just wear a golf shirt and khakis, tuck it in.
Should wear your wiffle ball jersey. That's a pretty fun shirt.
Yeah.
Would that be allowed?
That's pretty funny.
Just slap a collar on that. We'll get you a collared Preds custom made shirt. That would fly, wouldn't it then? If it was like a Preds dress shirt.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. What, all black with just a P?
Yeah.
Or a yellow shirt. I want a yellow shirt. I need to get an MLW golf shirt is what I need.
We got the MLW golf polos. We could get team golf polos could be a thing too. There's so much, once again, no rules. So much you could do.
Yeah.
I want to get some more like Mallards specific gear. Like something like so. Well, I guess it is cool though because like all of us rep the brand. All of us rep MLW, which is kind of cool if you think about it. Like it's all of our.
I like the brand too.
I like repping the brand. It's a very good community thing, and it makes us feel like we're all just one family, even though we're on separate teams. But I do think like having a Mallards like hoodie to throw on when I'm at the airport instead of just my MLW hoodie would be cool. Stuff like that I think would be sick, and maybe something to look out for in the near future.
I have a question. So who drove? Did anyone drive out to Vermont this weekend?
No players did. I explored it because it's just an expensive trip, to be candid.
So no players, but parents?
Parents, the Allen family, Mrs. Walker.
Do we know what kind of cars those people drive? Because I was driving on the Ohio Turnpike this weekend, and I saw an MLW bumper sticker like on the back windshield, like the logo MLW. So I was like, that's either a diehard fan and I'd have no idea where they got that sticker from, or it's like someone that I would probably know in that car.
I know the Allens do have that. Sorry to expose the car, but they do have that.
Oh, well, I didn't say what kind of car it was.
I know, right, but they do have an MLW sticker on their back windshield.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
they
maybe
live
it was
in Ohio. I guess I've never been on the Ohio Turnpike. I don't think that goes east. I'm always usually going west on the Ohio Turnpike.
I was driving west. I was driving back from Northeast Ohio, and I was driving.
What day
west.
Was this?
Yesterday.
Yesterday's. They were probably heading back from Vermont. Yeah, heading west on the turnpike. That's so funny that you saw that.
That's hilarious.
If it was a fan, that'd be cool too. But I feel like the odds are probably it was the Allens. That's so funny. I would have probably freaked out if I saw that sticker. I'm like, holy cow, that's an MLW sticker.
Yeah.
My wife's passed out in the passenger seat, and I'm like, that's our logo. Hey, that's our logo.
Wake up.
Did you follow him for a while or no?
I mean, honestly, we're not admitting to crimes. They were going a little faster than I was willing to go. So they drove by me pretty quickly.
Yeah, they were going the speed limit. You were going under the speed limit.
That's exactly what happened.
They were also getting off of a longer ride, so they're probably pretty eager to get home. That's why they were driving the speed limit right on the dot.
Understandable, for sure.
And I think that same family is driving to New York this upcoming weekend. So they've been really putting the miles on. Dallas was talking about that in the car, and I think it was like Blade or Landon, young kids. I was basically a dad of 4 this whole weekend, guys. I sent in the group chat. I'll read you guys my text in the Vermont group chat after the weekend wrapped up. So this is, of course, an event with Slam T1D again at Type 1 Diabetes Charities. Keep that in mind for context of this text. But we got back off the plane, back home here to the MLW home base. Everyone else had gone their separate ways. And I sent a text and I said, in the group chat with everybody who traveled, I said, thanks for all your hard work, guys. Great weekend. And then I said, side note, Trey and Jimmy, you guys are dogs. We love you. And I said, another side note, this weekend I learned I will not be having 4 kids, maybe 2 to 3 at most. Because I was in a hotel room with Landon, Carson, Dallas, and Blade. And
yeah, that's a young group.
Mothers of 4, God bless you. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it's a young
They
squad.
were actually really good, but it is a lot. Like, I felt a lot of responsibility because I was talking to Mrs. Urgitis prior to the trip, and Landon and Carson are younger, so I did feel like a bit of a parent on the road and definitely supervisor. And I felt weird, like they kept trying to like leave the room to go hang out with Sailor, and I'm like, whoa, where are you guys going? Like, don't just be disappearing on me. We're halfway across the country here. Your parents aren't here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely felt like a father this weekend, but a lot of fun. What was your original question, Jack? I don't even know. We've been driving and traveling a lot, the Allen family.
I have no idea. I think I just interrupted you. Oh, we were talking merch, and then we were talking, logos, and then I knew I wanted to talk about that. I forgot about it, but what better time to bring it up than at the very end of the episode anyway, for all the real ones that are still
it's
listening.
Always tricky because like I want to go into so much detail, but I also want you guys to see the content that was filmed while we were out there. So this will be like mid-September conversation.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, when the video comes out.
I will say this though about the event, just real quick. It was awesome being there and supporting Slam T1D, and just we don't do enough charity work quite yet. I would love to do more, but for now, this is the only one we're involved in, and in the future, hopefully that grows. But being there and just seeing those affected by type 1 diabetes and having Jimmy and Trey there with us who are also affected by that disorder and disease, it just felt great to be able to support that cause and to show them support because, of course, we're wrapped up in our series and whatnot, and it's hard, and you easily forget that Trey and Jimmy are fighting that fight every single day of their lives. So really directly supporting that and being intentional about it this weekend was pretty special. So for those who were there, I think they could agree that just the ceremonies that were put on by the charity were pretty cool, and it was touching. It was touching for sure. So great weekend, awesome. And we'll talk about it soon. And I guess that kind of wraps this one up, guys. I appreciate you fellas coming on virtually. I had Jack stay home because of the possible technical difficulties again, but hopefully next week, fingers crossed, we're back on track. Well, next week's New York, and we're not flying home till Monday, so I don't know, Jack. We'll have to figure that one out too.
Road pod.
We're about 2 to 3 weeks away from like normal pods again, which is good.
Yeah.
Cool. But we're getting there done. But Warda, thanks for coming on again, boss. Back to back. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Love coming
Stepping
on.
Up for we would have loved to have Ryan or Rudy on, of course, but they were unavailable. So Warda steps up to the plate like he always does, and
thank you.
Showed the boys some love. So we appreciate it. But yeah, that about wraps this one up. So without further ado, Carson Urgitis does not know the definition of the word parched, and we will see you all next week. Pipe it up.